Okay, everybody, welcome. We have a absolutely wonderful turnout, and we have so many guests that I think it would take the entire meeting to go around and say hello to everybody. But I know there's lots of folks that are from the various NIMAC clubs, and just to remind our membership that we are a member of NIMAC, and we have been given invitations to attend their events, one of which I'm going to talk about, and we always attend them to. We always invite the members of NIMAC to attend our speaker events as well. So that was sent out by the NIMAC president, and thus we have so many folks today for the wonderful presentation that Anastasia is going to be doing for us. I'm going to bore all of you folks who are not members with a few minutes of club business that we need to go over. Going to start with the fact that we are here on Zoom again. And we did send out an email after the survey that we did of our membership. There were just not enough members who felt comfortable or definitively wanted to come back to meet in person for it to make it worthwhile for us to rent the church. So the executive committee made a decision that we will continue to meet via Zoom, and we'll reassess that in December and see where we are. Needless to say, the main concern that folks had about coming back in person was COVID and the new strain. So we'll just see how things are progressing. Interestingly, when I spoke to the manager of the church, she said that they were actually meeting the next day to assess or reassess whether or not they were going to continue to allow groups in anyway. So Vicki and Terry and I were on an NJFCC meeting the other night, and all the clubs there were talking about their very mixed reactions. Some were meeting in person, some were not. Many of them did not have access to their meeting locations, as their meeting locations were closed. So, you know, it's an overall problem. Everyone's struggling with it, and we'll just keep going and figure out what to do as we go along. Speaking of NIMAC, I sent out today, so CDCC members, please check your email, but I sent out something that we got today on a free presentation from the Westchester Photographic Society. Lisa and Tom Kachara are doing a presentation called Wabi Sabi, and that's this Friday at 7:30. You do have to sign up in advance, and if you check the email, it will tell you who you need to send an email to get the link. But it's talking about the beauty of imperfect or unconventional subjects, and that's kind of what the Wabi Sabi means. And it sounds very interesting, and if you're interested, you can attend on Friday night. Let's go to Matt, if you could. Let's go to Terry. He has a couple of quick things for updates for us, and then we'll go from there. I think probably to you.
Yeah. Okay. Just three quick things. One, remind everybody. Can you hear me? I unmuted. Am I okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Hear you fine.
There are three things going on that I wanted to talk about. One is just a reminder, we still have the fundraiser going on, and you can get any of the merchandise, put in an order, send it into Vicki, pay for it, get your merchandise. And also, you know, keep in mind Stitches and Ink, when you go to pick up your merchandise, if you've got a shirt or something, you want them to put something on it, that could be a little extra. So, you know, they'll do one-offs, they'll do anything you want. Number two, we're going to get masks for the club, you know, masks, COVID masks or whatever kind of mask you want to call it. We're going to put the logo on the white mask, and you can get a mask. We're going to do it a little differently. Rather than have an order form, we're going to make it simple. And that is, The club's going to buy, like, I think 10 or 15 masks. And if you want a mask, you send an email to Linda and you tell her you want a mask. She'll tell you to pay for it. They'll be $9. And once you pay for it, you can either pick it up at Greg's house because he's going to pick up all the masks, or you can tell him to mail it to you for an extra $1. And so mask fundraiser all going together with Stitches and Ink. Third thing, real quickly, we have the NJFCC competition coming up. The deadline for photos, the nature and the pictorial are October 3rd. So get your photos in and go from there.
And
That was it.
uploading has,
That was my 3 things.
yes, thanks, Terry. And uploading has been enabled for the NJFCC competition on our website. Could you unmute Melinda, Matt? I just need to see if we have anything we need for PSA.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Melinda.
I haven't heard from, well, I guess Joe is taking over for Will.
Joe and we think Mike Podwee.
Okay, so I texted Will. The PSA is not listed yet to upload your photographs for the competition, so I'm not exactly sure who's going to be doing that, whether Will will do it. The first round, the deadline to PSA is November 15th. So I have to coordinate with whoever's going to be putting it on the website, what the deadline is for the club members.
Okay,
So right
That's
now, I don't have any information.
okay. We'll get it soon enough.
Okay,
Actually, Matt, let's do Valerie first. Valerie, if you can let us know about next month's speaker.
So next month will be our very last speaker for the year. So sad. But we're going to have Ron Wyatt, and his topic is going to be how to self-assign a topic and build a portfolio that tells a story. And I know he's going to include some of his covered bridges and why he selected that topic, as well as show some of those images. And he's going to try to incorporate a couple other things in there. So it's going to be interesting to see. He was going to talk about the cameras he used, where he went, how to find the bridges, yada, yada,
I
yada.
love Ron Wyatt.
He loves you too.
I love him. He's a terrific guy.
I was hoping he could join us tonight, but I don't know if he was able to get out of his conflict, but yes. So come back, Anastasia, next month. You can hear Ron speak.
I've been all over the world with Ron.
All right, so
Terrific.
that's
Thank
it.
you, Valerie. Thanks, Valerie. Matt, you want to tell us about a couple things, right? Next year's competition topics. You're muted, Matt.
I see that. Basically, we're going to, we need competition topics sent in to us again. I'm going to send out an email with the details, but basically it's going to be similar to last year. You can submit up to 3 topics, and we're going to go through and pick through them and make sure that they don't line up with any of our topics from the last at least 2 years, possibly 3, because we want new topics. This year we wound up getting 2 or 3 competitions that overlapped previous years, and we're trying to do something a little different, get you out of your comfort zone, and maybe possibly learn something new. So the deadline is going to be probably close to the end of the month, maybe the week before. I got to check, because we want to be able to get the topics out as soon as possible and get the voting done so that you guys can go out and shoot and get your January and February stuff done as soon as you can. And that's basically all that's going to entail.
Terrific. And our competition in 2 weeks
Our
is
competition in 2 weeks is garden wildlife, I believe. And that needs to be submitted by the 19th, right? Yeah, September 19th by midnight. Otherwise, you won't be able to submit.
Okay, so members, remember to upload your topics. We are yet last I heard, Terry, I don't know that you haven't said anything about being able to talk to, getting in touch with the new person at Monroe yet, but we do supposedly have a gallery show that is scheduled for November. There's a very good chance we're not going to be doing it, but we're waiting to have a conversation with Monroe. Their traffic in and out is much lighter than usual, so the opportunity for people to see our exhibits kind of lessen. Matt, could you please unmute Terry if he says something to say?
I just unmuted him.
There you go, Terry. Terry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, on Monroe, I did contact them. I basically kind of said we still want to do it. Can we, kind of move out into the future without having to lose too many years, because they're very, very busy. They are doing shows. They don't have a person who took over for the administrator of the shows, but they said two of them are going to get together. I talked to the director, and she back to me sometime the next week. I did want to mention one other thing with competitions. The tutorials are out there for garden, wildlife, and trees. There's 4 or 5 to their shore, and if you're looking for some ideas or how to do it, so we'll totally different coaches on how to shoot and what to do and how to do it. So they're out there.
Okay,
That's it.
terrific. Thank you. I think that's it for business, unless any other body on the board, executive committee wants to raise their hand to say anything. I don't see that. All right, terrific. Then I think I will introduce our speaker. I have that pleasure tonight, and we actually welcome back, because Anastasia judged for us a few months ago. So we welcome back Anastasia Tompkins, and I'm going to read you her bio. Anastasia Tompkins likes to say she picked up a camera 30 years ago and hasn't put it down since. In her previous life, she grew up in Paris and New York City, got her communications degree from Northeastern University, and spent many years in advertising sales with publications like the New York Times, the Sierra Club magazine, and Art and Auction. After having her 2 daughters in the early 90s, she knew it was time to move away from corporate life. She needed a more flexible schedule that somehow had to involve her passion for photography, which by this time she was clearly addicted to. It was time to reinvent herself. Her new business card read, "For all things photographic." She took every job that came her way, figuring that each one was a learning experience. It led to fun and extremely creative projects like creating corporate logos, designing wine labels, shooting fun events, curating photography exhibits, designing CD and book covers, just to name a few. And it was during this time that her love of creative photo art was born. Since those early days, her images have been published in various magazines, exhibited in fine art galleries, and is part of several private and corporate collections, both here and abroad. For the past 2+ decades, Anastasia has competed monthly in several camera clubs, has served on the board of directors, has presented her photography and the post-processing programs, curated countless exhibits, taught private Photoshop lessons, and judged both local and international competitions. And if you had a chance to go on her website and take a look at her work, it is really, really beautiful. And Anastasia, I know I'm very much looking forward to hearing your presentation tonight.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Welcome, and take it away.
Thanks. Boy, I didn't know we were going to read all that. It's my life on paper. So, hi, and thanks for having me. Tonight, we're going to talk about creative photo art of all kinds. Creative, open mind, altered reality, out of the box. I mean, it's called a million different things, but it's all the same in the end. We just want to make some creative images. I shoot everything. I shoot moody black and whites. I love traditional photography. I'm an avid wildlife photographer. So this creative is really A, it's not for everyone, and B, it's not for every image. I don't often do creative things with my wildlife images, for example. I mean, that's not to say I haven't painted a couple of birds in my day, but I tend not to. So this program might be very basic for a lot of you that have been doing it for a long time. And for some of you, it may be food for thought, which is what I hope it is. About 25 years ago, or yeah, about that, I joined Westchester Photographic Society, which I'm still a member of, and that's home to me. And our founder and leader at the time, Tony Gazurgian, was a real creative genius. And you know, at that time, we're still talking about slides and film. And that was going on even many years before I even arrived. He was way before the curve. We'd have print competitions where the print guy would hold up and you'd have to open a little door and there'd be like a nude behind there, or sometimes there was actual fire behind the door. Like we never knew what was going to happen. So he stressed that kind of open mind, creativity, and encouraged it. It was part of all of our competitions. So we've been at this a long time, but you know, it started with like sandwiching slides on a light box to see what kind of cool things you could get. But now we have, you know, we're digital. It's so much easier and more fun. You know, there's a time and a place for creative. I do compete in PSA a lot. I've even judged PSA. I've judged locally, you know, nationally and internationals. And I've seen a lot of creative photography. People aren't getting that creative. A lot of times they'll take a picture of something and maybe change the color of it, or do that famous Photoshop twirl. And there's just so much more available. And you know, I hate when people say, oh, has that been photoshopped? You know, it's not a bad word. Photoshop is your friend. And this, you know, as I said, this might be maybe food for thought for people who exclusively use Lightroom, because, you know, whether it's possible or not, I don't know, but I'm guessing we're going to need some layers for this. So, you know, that might encourage people to try some stuff. And, you know, I think we've all seen Ansel Adams' befores and afters. Quite a different story. So we are storytellers. We are not photojournalists. We are not recording record keepers. We're hopefully artists. And when I take an image of a scene, it may not necessarily be how that scene was, but it's my interpretation of it and how I want it presented. So again, you know, maybe basic for some people. We're going to go through a little bit of layer masking, very, you know, rudimentary stuff. And we're going to look into several different kinds of creative photo art. So I'm going to share my screen in a second. So we'll do the first part of it. I'll go through some different types of creative images. And then somehow I think I might have had a like real senior moment and decided to do some live editing. I did try to do it like with screenshots but I couldn't do it. I'm such a visual learner. I feel that if this is something that people haven't tried and this may be your first foray into it, maybe seeing it done would be easier. And again, I am not a professional presenter, so I'm just showing you how I do things. So, I mean, I've seen really great presenters who, they label every layer with what, they're using, and they, I don't do that. So I'm hoping I even remember which filters I've used or what I've done to achieve these things. When I'm done with an image, I flatten it, I save it, and I'm off to the next. I have none of what they call workflow. I take each image individually and see what I want to do with it. So here we go. Let's see, I'm going to share the screen, right? Okay, go to my desktop. So this way I have it all. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. Boom. Okay. So here we go. Okay, these are in camera. It doesn't have to be photoshopped. You can do some creative stuff in camera. I thought for some of these that it might be interesting, so I put my settings down there at the bottom right. These are bamboos at a zoo here. And it was one of these, the camera motion up and down. This is an 1/8 of a second, f8 ISO 200. And I pumped up the saturation, but I did not change anything. And it depends how fast you move the camera, how slow, you get different effects. And all through this presentation, the thing you have to remember is what's good for one person is not good for the other. You have to do it until the effect pleases you. Simple reflections. This is in Murano, in Italy, and I saw the buildings. I thought, oh, they're so pretty. I have to take pictures. But then everything starts looking alike. I mean, all the buildings look like this. And so then you just have to start getting a little creative. So it's just a plain old reflection. Zooming. This is a 1/6 of a second. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. Lots of different things to do. Lights, I love nights and lights for the zooming, works really well. Long exposures. Same thing, this is in Valhalla. They have every year that holiday show or lights and games and stuff. This is a 5-second exposure. It was on a tripod, on a ball head. And I just did one of these, like all over. I mean, and I did 30 of them. And you take the one that you like the best, and it's all playing, and there's no substitute for the time spent playing with your camera and in front of the computer. This is middle of the day. On the High Line, I was out taking pictures and just saw like a whole bunch of taxis, and I thought, oh, this is so New York, so this is a 2-second exposure, and I just thought it was kind of cool with the taxis. This is a 6-second exposure. Paris at night. And you get such great streaks from the cars and everything. And this one I found kind of cool because, you know, you get the big span of light streaks. This would happen to have been a bus that went by. And I know it's corny or kitsch or whatever, but I love the starbursts. So I went to F16 so I could get those. This is a different type of creative image. I took a time lapse video. So it's 450 images taken 2 seconds apart, brought into Photoshop as layers, blended, and this is what you get. This one is 2 seconds apart. If you did it 1 second apart or 4 seconds apart, you get a totally different outcome. So again, it's really what makes you happy. And I did not change the color of the sky. This is dawn from our balcony, and those were the colors of the morning. I mean, you can see the gold sun on the side of the Eiffel Tower, but that is pretty much after they've been, you know, blended and everything. That's pretty much out of the camera. How fun is this? This is a big fake sunflower under a plexiglass sheet with some Rain-X on it. And I just love this. I mean, it's so much fun, and you can do it with anything. Well, I have to confess, this is a cell phone shot. This was out of a hospital room, actually, in New York, and it was raining, and it was sunset, and it was just so nice. And in the hospital, I didn't happen to have my camera, so, but I knew I wanted it. So I thought that was, you know, more creative than just a regular old skyline. Who says oil and water don't go together? Perfect marriage, in my opinion. I took a Pyrex dish and I put some water in it and a few drops of oil, and it creates the most interesting graphic images. And the color underneath it, this one happened to be my daughter's tie-dye sweatshirt, but you can use like colored wrapping paper or, you know, drawing, a painting, anything colorful is really nice underneath to give it a little something extra. Smoke. Smoke is always beautiful. This is incense smoke with an LED light. This is a 1 second exposure. And it's interesting because you can also see shapes in it, and you can see faces and bodies and all kinds of different things. So that's always a really nice creative thing. That's not photoshopped. Change your angle of view. That's something else you can do. This was in Dubrovnik. I took a million. I love those orange roofs and the blue sky. And so I took a million pictures. And as we were walking off that little bridge, I thought, oh, this is a good vantage point. And it turns out I like this one the most. So change your perspective on things. Or a change of lens. I rarely leave home without my fisheye. I love this lens. This is in Budapest, and we were just walking around, and I saw this wall, which I really loved, and I loved what the fisheye lens did to it. I was pretty darn close to it, and I just stood there and waited until people that I liked and I thought were interesting came into the picture. And this guy was kind enough to wear his PSA red jacket for me and have his little dogs running around. So I thought that was fun. And so, yeah, so maybe a change of lens. So these are all things you can do in your camera. And yeah, I mean, you might need to tweak something here or there to finish it off, but pretty much you can do all those things in your camera. So we're at the dreaded Photoshop. Truthfully, I do not use many Photoshop filters. I mean, they've been the same old ones, you know, since Photoshop 2. So they're kind of basic and boring, I think. There are a couple of cute ones, but I generally use Photoshop for the more intentional images that I'm going to make for an editing program, but not so much for their filters, but we'll go through a few of those. This is Cutout. And again, as I said, I've done a lot of judging over the years, and anyone, any judge that knows anything is going to know when it's a one-click, a click of your mouse, or not. And I've got to say, a lot of the things you do with filters and painting and things like that, it's labor intensive. It's one filter, then another filter, then, you know, dialing it back and then putting another filter. I mean, these are all things that take time and effort. There's nothing worse than seeing just a gratuitous filter slapped on an image and called creative. The truth is, I don't usually know what filter I'm going to use. I've been surprised more than not. So if I think, oh, I'm going to use this filter on this, and then I get there and it, you know, just doesn't work. So really my game plan is always to go through many different filters, not in Photoshop because I really know those already, but in Topaz and those kind of things. And if I want to paint something, or if I want to do something more creative, you know, I'll go to Topaz Studio.
And
So
if
anyway,
you
this
say
is one
so,
of, yes, dear.
yeah, before I can hear you about to move on. There's a question.
Sure.
It says, is Cutout a program?
I'm sorry, no, these, we're in Photoshop right now. These are going to be the Photoshop filters. There's a whole list, which I'll show you when we get there. There's a whole list of filters that you can use in Photoshop. This one's called Cutout. There's Posterize, there's you know, stained glass, there's all kinds of different filters within Photoshop in their filter gallery. And this is one of them.
And that's the Creative Cloud version of Photoshop?
Yes.
Okay.
These are actually in all of the Photoshops. So, but I am using Creative Cloud.
Okay, great, thank you.
And here's another one in Photoshop, stained glass. Now, I didn't just boop, and this is what appeared, you know. You can, the thing to keep in mind is you can customize everything. You can customize the size of the cell. You can customize the color of the border. You can customize the thickness of the border. You can customize the color of, I mean, it's endless. And so I want everyone to know that this program is really food for thought, because there's no possible way of going through it all and showing all the possibilities. But if you see a drop-down menu, drop it down. If you see a slider, slide it. See what it does. There's no substitute for playing. That's, they're going to put that on my tombstone one of these days. So, okay, so that's stained glass. I thought it looked cute on that image, so. Sponge, you know, I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's a little sponge technique, but you know, sometimes it's nice, but basic. Polar coordinates. Ooh, I love this one. I don't know a lot of other programs that do this. I know there's a couple of cell phone programs, cell phone apps that do this, but I think this one is really fun. This is Manhattan scene from Roosevelt Island. And I like the square format when I use polar coordinates, because whatever round it makes really sits nicely in the square frame. The only thing is when the program takes your image, which also works best is something horizontal, like a skyline, bicycles in a row, ducks in a row, things like that. So when the program twirls it and makes it a pole, it takes the coordinates and turns them around, there's that seam kind of in the middle that you have to play with to sort of integrate it together. But it's such a fun filter that I use it occasionally, and I've got a few examples of it because I really like it. Rye Playland. I thought that was really good with the Ferris wheel, and then this kid was fishing, and there was this fishing pole sticking out, and I just thought it worked really well. And originally it was a horizontal image of the boardwalk. Manhattan. I mean, you got a skyline. And it works well. It's fun. And I think that's really a very different Photoshop filter than the rest of them. More buildings in New York. I think they're Trump buildings, but we're not gonna even go down that road. So, and then these twirled, and I thought, oh, wow, that worked really well. So, okay. So Topaz Studio. This is, the mecca of painting and filters, and it's so much fun. Now, Topaz Studio, not to be confused with Topaz AI, which, is used more for traditional straight photography in terms of, there's a sharpen program and a denoise program. They work very well, but more for traditional. Topaz Studio incorporates so many, I'll show you where everything is, but there are countless, from grunge to glow to impressions. You can't possibly go through them all unless you sit and play. And also what I suggest when you do go through them is take an image that's very plain and go through them all. See what they do. Play. So here are some images that I did with Topaz Studio. Again, I'm pretty sure this one's impasto. So that's because I do use this one a lot. These were dancers in Cuba practicing for some big show. We passed this auditorium, and of course I had to go in and take pictures. So the filter, and was it an interesting image? Yeah, it was fun. Was it good enough for a traditional color category in competition? I didn't think so. Haha, I'll just paint it and I'll have fun with it, because they were wearing colorful outfits and they were moving. There was motion, there was energy. So I chose this filter. And again, I chose the direction of the stroke, the length of the stroke, the width of the stroke, the color of the stroke, the rotation of the stroke, the opacity of the stroke. It's endless. And I thought this worked really well. It gave me a feeling of their motion, like they really were moving. So I thought it worked well. And after I was done, I folded up my layers and I saved it, which is what I do with all my images. Because if I go back, I'm never going to use the same exact, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play whatever my next image on deck is. I'm going to go through my whole process again until I'm happy. And that's it. You have to be happy. That's the end result. Now, this is the same brush, the same impasto, but totally different. This one's way sharper. I made it sharper instead of smoother. And I thought this worked really well with the fur on the bears, or hair, or whatever they have, and the pine trees. I thought it enhanced the image. And that's what we're going for. We're going for a filter or a treatment that enhances your image, not some filter you just slap on there and call it creative. Again, same brush. This one's a fatter brush, a shorter brush, a wider brush. I mean, I just thought it really said crinoline. I thought this screamed tutu. So again, I played until I liked it. But those 3 images were done with the same brush. I believe this is Da Vinci. So this is Sturbridge Village on a bright sunny day. But when I saw the image, I wanted it to be a little eerier and a little kind of cooler. So I thought, you know, I'll bring it into Topaz and see what I can come up with. And I use a Cintiq monitor with a pen, which is extremely pressure sensitive, which is nice. So I was able to, when I push a little harder, make the tree a little darker, the church a little lighter. I was able to choose the thickness of my pencil stroke. You can choose the color of the paper you're drawing on. Again, possibilities are endless. But I thought this gave me the moody, finished end result that I wanted. Here's another one. This is actually a model at an old Javits show. And she was really colorful already. And I had actually already entered her in regular competition. So I thought she's a perfect thing to play with. These are colored pencils. And again, you know, you put the filter on and then you take it away in some places. You leave it heavier in some places. It's really up to you. I wanted her face to show through a little more, so I removed some of the filter from that area, which I'll show you how to do.
Anastasia,
Yes, dear.
we got a couple questions.
Okay.
One of them is, when you save your images with layers, do you save them as TIFFs or PSDs?
Okay, I don't save them with layers because I'm just never going to go back to it. I don't need the layers. I do save I flatten the image when I'm done, save it as a TIFF, and then I will, if I really like it, I'll size it for competition and then save it as a JPEG.
Okay. And then the other question is, what is a Cintiq monitor and pen?
Okay, you can see me still, right?
Yes.
This is my pen, and I work on a monitor that I can work directly on. So I use this instead of my mouse, basically. And it's pressure sensitive. And it's really fabulous to just draw on right on your monitor. So you can get, and the whole monitor, you can put it right in your lap and work like that. It's got many different positions. For me, it was life-changing. I use it for everything. I don't use the pen when I'm not doing, you know, photography. I use a regular Mac, you know, mouse pad thing. But for anything photographic, whether it's straight photography or painting or anything like that, I edit with the pen.
Okay.
You can also buy little Cintiq, little things that you can take. Like I use one for travel. I have one that plugs into my laptop, and it comes also with a little pen. I take that, you know, when we go away.
Okay. And for those of you who are on Phil just posted it. I found a link and I just posted that in chat.
Yeah, it's Wacom.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sorry.
I would say, okay, that's
Oh.
it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here's a Georgia O'Keeffe type of filter, which is very smooth and kind of liquidy. This was literally a test shot out in the field, and it was, you know, not so sharp. And I thought, let me bring that in, see what I can do with that. And I think this filter worked really nicely on it. You can't tell it wasn't sharp. I've played with it, and those are really good images to use. Maybe they're not sharp enough for regular competition. Maybe there's something you just can't fix, or something that's annoying in the thing. You can paint right over it. Those are great images to paint and to play with. This again is also the Georgia O'Keeffe, but done differently. These were flamenco dancers in Cuba, and I just thought it worked really nicely. It sort of gave them that liquidy motion feel. So I liked that one. Okay, this is another topaz. So we're out of impressions, and now I went into a different category of topaz, which is the glow. And, you know, I think probably I originally painted this one. I took it, you know, into impressions, and something I didn't like it or whatever. I said, let me try a glow on here. And, you know, again, you can change the brightness of the glow, the thickness of the glow, the color of the glow. I mean, there's just, it's endless. So, but I thought this was really nice on the sunflower field, and it's something different. I mean, Lord, during this time of year, how many sunflowers can I take, and how many sunflowers pictures can I see? There's just a million of them. So I figured, let me do something a little different with that. And here's grunge, which is basically the same thing as taking a texture and putting it over your image. But you can do that in topaz also. They have a grungy category, urban decay, and that kind of thing. And again, you know, you want your image to show through in some areas, and in some areas you want the texture or the filter, whatever, to be a little heavier. So you use a layer mask and to achieve that. This was, you know, in Maine at like the crack of dawn. Lynn, I think I was with you here, by the way. Okay, so the last category we're going to go through before I lost my mind and we're going to attempt a live edit here. This is intentional creativity. This is also,
Anastasia,
yes, yeah.
sorry, I'm going to stop you before you go
Sure.
into that. Can you upload your own texture into Topaz Grunge? That's another question.
No, not that I know of. But you don't have to. You can have your own textures, open your image in Photoshop, bring the texture in, put it right over it, and then you can apply the same technique as I'm going to show you. So you don't even really need Topaz for that.
Okay, and we're going to suggest once you get through this, before you do your live edit, that we take a little bit of a break.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So what I call intentional creativity is, you know, also something you can't teach. It's something that goes on in my crazy warped brain. But I can't teach you what to think, but I can show you this technique that you can create things of your own. And this technique also of layer masking and that type of thing is good for every type of image, straight or creative. Well, this one was basically in camera. It's my daughter. I took a picture of her like this, and then I took a picture of her like this, and then I took some away, and I knew what I wanted. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And then, yeah, there's probably like a posterized filter over it just to give it some, you know, oomph. But you know, not a big deal, but a fun image.
Anastasia,
Sorry?
that previous image may go along with the question that just popped up. It said, can you apply different topaz effects or filters to different layers in Photoshop and then erase them through a blend from one layer to another?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks.
So this one I did, I was doing some work for the Coast Guard and they wanted a fun flag image. And so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. This happens to be a very old image of mine, but I still love it. And it still makes sense. You know, I cut it into strips and I took each strip is its own layer. And by moving the layers around and warping the strips, you create something that makes you happy. But it was a fun project. I mean, who hasn't thought of shoving a giraffe in the Eiffel Tower? I mean, I think we've all thought about that once in a while. But I just thought this was really fun. And so I took one of my giraffes from Africa and stuck him in there. Right? It's always fun. Yes, I need help. Okay. This is my backyard. I saw this cute little sparrow, like really studying the bird bath. And I thought it would be interesting if perhaps he saw an eagle looking back. So, and then after I did that, I did bring it into Topaz and do a little painting effect because, you know, it's whimsical. I thought that was a good idea. I did this for many years ago for an umbrella competition. I really didn't have anything great. I couldn't really get a great umbrella picture. So I thought, I'm going to go through my folders and find, you know, because I have been shooting in the rain for years. I figured I could definitely find some people in those photographs, took them out. And again, these are all separate layers, which is the only way you can create any type of these type of creative images. And don't be afraid of layers. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you use them already. But if you don't, it's really easy and it's fun. I mean, even when I teach Photoshop, layers is one of the first things I go to because in my opinion, really, you can't do much without them. And I want people to have a grasp of that technique even when they get started. I don't want to be, oh, layers, ooh, you know, it's really not that difficult. My muse, we were sitting at breakfast one morning and I said, oh my God, you look just like those eggs I bought yesterday. I said, I have a great idea. I said, just, I love you so much. So I said, just make faces for me. And he was like, for what? I said, just make faces. I'll show you later. So he did, and I did. And again, this is a pretty old image of mine, but I love it. And actually, it won a gold medal at CDCC. So playing pays off sometimes. Okay, so just to recap, in our creative toolbox, we can do some really great things right in camera. You have the Photoshop filters, we have Topaz Studio, we have Nik filters, which I adore. We're not going to go over Nik filters tonight. Nik filters are more of, how would you say, like a mood enhancing set of filters. I love them. They're terrific. I highly suggest people have these. They're not creative, but they're mood enhancing, and I really encourage you to try them. Alien Skin has a lot of different types of programs. They have some for traditional. I think they have one that like a gigapixel type that blows, you can blow up your image really large. And then they have a whole creative slew of different painting techniques, tools and things. There's also Smart Photo Editor, which is another fun program to play in. And I've never used On One, but I've heard that they have creative tools in there. So it's only money and time. So I would suggest everyone playing a little and just step out of your traditional box and have fun.
Anastasia, in line with that, do you use Luminol?
I do not.
Luminaire? Okay. And another one, a lot of pros use Capture One and they don't see it listed here. Is there a reason for that? Why you don't use any of these other two?
No, there's no reason. I just don't. Nothing against them. I really don't know them. Again, I'm not a professional, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not out promoting all the different, these are just, I really do use Topaz mostly. I use my Nik filters a lot of times on my straight images. I do use Alien Skin. I haven't used it in a while. I do like Smart Photo Editor. Those are the ones I really use for filters. And if I do creative things, I'm basically just painting, and you saw what I'm doing. So those are just the ones that I use. I'm sure there's a million more that I don't even know about.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Does anybody want to come off mute? Do you have any comments about cell phone apps?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I love them. You know, there's Snapseed, which is really a great straight photo editor. Anything I do on my phone, I usually go into Snapseed first. And then there's PixArt, I like also. There's Plasma, which is also good. Let me just see my phone here. Prisma, I knew that was wrong. I'm still in the giving blood mode. So Prisma, there's Instatune, PixArt. And there's also, you know, you can have Photoshop right on your phone too, Photoshop Express. And again, I'm sure there's a million more. There's a million for Android as well as iPhone. I think there's actually more for Android, quite frankly. I'm not thrilled with the iPhone apps, but I do use a lot of, I do a lot on my cell phone. I love it. It's fun. And it's always with me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you ever shoot tethered?
Meaning?
Tethered to the computer so that as you're shooting it pops up on a computer.
No.
No. Okay.
Not me personally.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone wants to come off mute? I don't see any raised hands. Okay. Are you about to go into your live demonstration?
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
waiting for you.
All right, then this is a good time to take a 15-minute break.
Oh, 15 minutes. It's past my bedtime already. 15 minutes.
Okay.
No.
Matt said 5.
Yeah. 5, I will go with.
I say maybe 7. That gives everybody time to get up, make a bio break, get something to drink, get a snack. But 5 to 7. Matt will time us, and he'll let us know when the 5 minutes are up.
Okay.
And if you would like to come off mute, just a chit chat on those 5 minutes, feel free.
Yeah, that's fine. If anyone wants to, that's great.
I'll be back.
Hi, Lois Barker.
I made it so you can unmute yourselves if you would
I know,
like.
but I saw her name down there.
Oh, Ron Wyatt.
Ron Wyatt, my man.
Hi, Miss A.
How you doing?
Okay, how you doing? Can you see me?
Your hair looks terrific. That's all I have to say.
How you doing, Harvey?
I gotta put my headset on so I could talk to you.
I hear you're going to wow them with your next program.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back into photography. Work's starting to pick up again, and it's getting interesting. So I'm into camping now, so I'm RVing.
Boy,
What's the
I
matter?
taught you better than that.
No, I love it.
Oh, mon Dieu.
And I just got a truck, so I'm getting ready to get an American flag and get some tattoos and stuff because I'm
Oh
a
my
trucker
goodness
now.
gracious. I can't.
I think you need a motorcycle.
Oh
cannot.
goodness. Oh, there you go.
No,
How you guys doing?
terrific.
You're doing good.
Very good.
Yeah.
I almost forgot tonight, and we had my basement got flooded out. So
Oh.
right now they're forecasting some pretty good rain tonight. So I have everything on the patio. So once I'm finished, I'm gonna go and bring everything in the house and see what happens. Hopefully it's not gonna be flooding like it did the other day. But
Yeah, several of my friends had their basements flooded.
oh man, it was something else. But I about 3 miles from where I live in Rawway was, I complained
Exit
because
11?
I lost. Yeah, I was complaining because I lost the carpet downstairs in my basement, and I was getting ready to make the last payment on the carpet this month.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the last payment is due this month.
Oh, no.
And I rode through Rawway, and one house exploded, and like 4 houses around it, the windows are all out.
Carpet
all of
doesn't
the-
look so bad anymore, does it?
Really, I feel so bad that I was complaining about a lousy carpet compared to, people have all of this stuff out on the curb, and so.
Ron, how's your father?
He's doing good. He's on and off, So I almost took him to the hospital last Thursday, and he's up and down. His memory is kind of getting bad now. So, I gotta figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's like
it-
there's no break between kids and parents.
no,
You know?
really, it's like last weekend I wanted to go camping, and I wasn't sure if I was taking him to the hospital or not, and so it's it's tough. So I need to get with the doctors and find out what's the next move, but he's very independent, and and I just feel like with my new freedom, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I have a hard time trying to make people do something that they don't really want to do. You and if you look at what happened with the pandemic and everything, people made New Year's reservations, and look how many people died, never got to see those, that come to pass. So I try to give them as much freedom as possible. But I've been
Get
with
him
him
that
for.
third shot too.
Yeah. So, I've been with him for 67 years.
Yeah,
and
you're a good son, Ron. So I'm
But
sure he's in good hands.
the last year has been interesting.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
been
sure.
some really good it's good to see you. You look beautiful there and everything.
Oh, I love you.
So, so
You just
how
love
come-
me so.
how come Harvey's name keeps popping up on my, I don't see him though.
Honey, he doesn't see you.
I'm trying to get my camera back on.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's as
So-
handsome as ever.
Yeah. That's good.
You know what? I
getting
think
rid of-
that they've stopped the video except for certain people.
I think so
Oh.
too. They cut me off also, Harvey. I can't get back on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
All
As
right.
if you
So-
would.
hmm
We do, but I
So,
try to give Harvey the chance to
Oh, here it is.
come
There
back.
you go.
Yeah,
All
I,
right.
There you go.
okay.
he
Yeah,
allowed me to come
oh,
back.
you're out in the field, huh? You're in the backyard.
I'm playing the field, Ron.
So Miss A, I was gonna ask a question, but since we're off the air and we're on a break, nobody else is listening. So what drugs are you on when you're coming up with all this kind of stuff that you're doing?
You know me, I'm high on life.
Yeah, had I known, I would have done drugs, you know?
Me too. Imagine how
talk-
good they might have been with a
You
little.
know, and you're talking about layers. I don't have a clue.
Listen,
You know that.
you
You were supposed
know,
to teach
I
me
could
years
smack
ago.
you.
I
All the
know.
years I've been trying to sit down with you. What do you
Yeah.
think of this? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
We still have to sit down.
Yeah, there you go. So one of these days, you know. So
Mhm. Yeah, but you're doing fine on your own without my help.
no, I'm enjoying life. So you know, it's all
look
good.
good.
I'm supposed to do something for Port Authority tomorrow for 9/11. You know, so
Yeah.
but I don't know if the rain's gonna rain us out or not. You know, and so
You look
it's
thin. Are you thin?
yeah, but you know what? But listen, to yesterday, my blood sugar.
Have you been eating? I sound like your mother.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I've been eating, but I like last week I went on a sun-kissed orange soda binge. I
Oh,
just went
God.
crazy. And yesterday I took my blood sugars. It's 500.
What?
500.
Oh,
Wow.
that doesn't sound
So
good.
no, it's not
What's it
good.
supposed to be?
Around 150 or lower. So I started exercise. So tonight I'm down to 169. But
You know what's
you
good
know,
for that is vegetables, Ron.
oh goodness gracious.
On that note,
Green
5 minutes are up.
things on your
Yeah.
plate. Ooh.
I'm
Oh,
saving you, Ron.
One quick thing. I see your post with all the good food you guys are eating down there. What a chef you got there.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah,
Nice
well,
talking
we
to
like
you
to hear-
guys.
I'll
I'm
give you
porky,
one.
All
but
right,
I'm
we'll talk to
happy.
you.
Okay, we're gonna mute everybody and turn off the cameras again, but
I just muted you too, Valerie. Sorry.
that's okay. Matt got us all. Before you get started, there's another question, and the question is, have you seen the work of William Morrison? He did a sort of things in the film days.
I don't believe so.
John, do you want to come off? Am I pronouncing that Mortensen? Am I pronouncing that correct?
Go ahead and unmute him, Valerie.
You cannot. Hold on. All right. John, can you come off mute?
Yes, I think so.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, when I was looking at your photos on the website, Ms. Tompkins, so much of it reminded me of the work of this one amazing photographer that everyone has forgotten. His name is William Mortensen. My wife is probably saying, oh no, he's bringing this up now. But if you have a chance,
Okay.
do a Wikipedia search and look up William Mortensen, Morten. He died around 1965. And you'll see. The
Okay.
kind of stuff you're doing is what he did. It was kitschy, but when he did it in the 1920s and 30s, it wowed people. But
Sure.
he got on the wrong side of modern photography, and they basically wrote him out of history. So, but
Okay, well, I will definitely look him up.
Yeah.
Honey, what show did I tell my mother to watch? Remember? Was it Alfred Eisenstadt? Okay. So yeah, no, but I will definitely check him out. Are we back?
Okay,
or-
I was busy chatting on mute, so I'm gonna say back to you. Thank you, John. And on to your live demo.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. Why do I just scares the hell out of me? All right. Okay, let me close this up a little.
Just keep in mind, we have no idea what you're gonna do, so if you mess up, only you know.
Oh, no, everyone will know.
Only if you tell us.
I was gonna say, the tip is if I start cursing, you'll know. Okay, let's see. What am I doing? Let me get to Photoshop. Now, okay, can you see that?
Yes,
Yes.
the flower.
Well, we're off to a good start. Let me close this up because I can't see my own screen here. Put this over here. Okay, so we're in Photoshop here. And my Photoshop might look different from your Photoshop only because of the way I have things set up. I like my tools over here. The only things I have showing are my layers, history, and actions if I need those, which are, for another day. But I like to have my history showing so I can go back and forth if I don't like something I did. I can just go back. So what we're going to do first is I'm just going to show you some of the Photoshop filters. Remember, we did cut out and that kind of thing, sponge and the rest of them. So I'll show you those, and I'll show you this technique in Photoshop, and then I'll show you the technique in Topaz. So first thing I want to do is I just took an image, as I said before, that was just easy. Plain flowers, leaves, not a busy background, just so when we do some filters on it, they'll just be obvious. And we know what we're looking at. So the first thing I want to do is duplicate my layer. Why isn't it working? Okay. Which is Command J is the shortcut, or Control J if you're on a PC. So I want you to think of the layers as literal layers, one on top of the other. Background layer is on the bottom, and the layer that I just duplicated is on top. So what we're going to do is put a filter on the top layer and bring back some of the flower from the bottom layer. Everyone on board? Okay, let's go to the filter gallery. Let me make that a little bigger. That terrible picture. Okay. Okay, so accented edges is just the first one that went on. Over here, you see sliders. Slide them. You can change the width. You can change the brightness of the edge. You can go from smooth to sharp. And you can do these different things in every single filter that they have available. These are distortion ones. Here's some glass. You can do smooth or not smooth. The scaling of the glass. What type of glass do I like? Something that, and again, it's got to make you happy. Let's say I like this. Well, which I don't, but let's just say I do. We'll go to OK. And so here's my top layer. If I take the eyeball off the layer, you'll see the bottom layer, right? So on my top layer, I'm going to go down here to my layer mask, this little like white camera looking thing. I click on the layer mask. And the way I can see the bottom layer is by going to my brush tool and making sure it's on black down here. So the way I remember it is black reveals what's underneath, and white, if you turn it to white, it conceals what's underneath. You may have heard it differently. again, this is just my way of remembering and what makes sense to me. So if we're on the layer mask is selected, I have my brush tool. I go to black. And on a fairly large brush, I go to a low opacity. Right now I'm on 15% because I don't want to take it all away. I'd rather do soft strokes and see what I get. So if you keep going, you're sort of lessening the filter, and I think I need more, so I don't want to take too much time here. So then I can wipe back the filter a little tiny bit. Let's say I just want it, you know, mildly. We can do that. Let's say I don't like it. I can go back in history to where it was. I can go back and put a different filter on it as well. Let's do this. Oops. Let's take the layer mask off. Let's do this. And now we can also, once you have the filter on, you can go through these, which are blend modes. And you can change even that. There's color burn, linear, color dodge. And then you can change how much of that you put on by sliding your opacity slider. I mean, as I said, the possibilities are endless here. So that's in Photoshop. And let me go back, get that horrible filter off. Here is another fun one, liquefy. And you know, again, you have to go through them, see which ones work with which image you're working on. I wouldn't use liquefy for this, but I think it's interesting. You can do the pressure, you can do the different size. You go here and you can pull these things. You can make it liquidy. You know, fun. It works on some images. Here's another fun one. You can do this little twirly thing. I'm going to make this small. You can do it like right on one of these flowers. You don't like it? No problem. Restore all. Boom. Start again. Everything's non-destructive. You can always go back and do something different. Let's see what else we have here. I'll show you the polar coordinates, which I did in the other one. That's under distort. Polar coordinates. Again, I wouldn't use it on this image, but you can see what the image does. And maybe you want to bring back the flower a little bit underneath to have sort of like a double exposure kind of situation going. So you go to your opacity and you're on your top layer is selected. You go to opacity and maybe bring that down a little. And you'll see the flower from the bottom layer come through. So this is a nice way of doing a type of a double exposure in Photoshop. Stylize. This is also a fun one. This is extrude. And this one just lands on, I mean, you can change the number of random pyramids and blocks, and but we'll just go with whatever it did right now. So let's say we like that. It's not going to win any awards, I'll tell you that, but we'll put a mask on it and maybe bring back the flowers a little. Right? So that's the way you can layer mask in Photoshop. Let's see. And now we can go, I'll show you how to do the same thing in Topaz. I'm going to go to my filters again, and I'm going to go see these are the other Topaz, the adjust, denoise, and sharpen. Those are for more traditional images. And then we have Topaz Studio, and we have clarity, detail, and those two are actually more traditional as well. I go with glow, impressions, simplify, textured effects, and Topaz Studio. And within those, there are so many options that, you know, really tonight is just food for thought, and it's giving you an introductory look at how to manipulate images. So let's just go to impressions, just because it's fun and easy, and you'll get the idea of it.
Mention that these Topaz Studios, the legacy of the AI.
Right, I did.
Legacy programs.
Right. Oh, I can't, this thing is blocking my thing. Okay, so these are different painting filters. And again, there are so many choices that I don't know what I'm looking for until I see it. So what I do really is I go down the line. What do I like? That's nice. Maybe I'll make a mental note. I'll come back to it. But I will really go through them all, because what I think is going to work 9 times out of 10 does not. So I play until I find something that does work. And I'm familiar enough with them where I can look at them and just scroll down, and I know which ones they are. These are some of the sketchy ones. Let's just go with something that we see is very different there. So, as I said, if you see a drop down, drop it down. If you see, drop it like it's hot. No, okay, I digress. If you see a slider, slide it. So here, this is the image that, you know, click of a mouse, whatever, this is what I got. Would I take it like that? Probably not. So I'll drop down this menu, and here are a ton of different brushes I can use. I can make this into anything I want. This is the brush that's already highlighted. So maybe I go to this one, and that's the look that one gives me. Or a big round soft brush. That's what that gives me with this filter. Many different styles, many different looks. Here's a really thin one, thin pencil. So let's just say we're on that one. There's many of these brushes. Let's go for a thinner one. Okay, so here are a bunch of different sliders also. You can choose the stroke length. Now this is in this particular filter. They'll all look different when you do this in any of the other ones. But these options are always available. So stroke width, make that a little thicker. Your brush size completely changes something from a small brush all the way up. There's smudge. I can make it really smooth, or I can make it really sharp. Down here, you can change the colors of things, the hue, the saturation. I'm going to go to the magenta here, the purple, and, you know, pump up those flowers a little. Change the hue of the flowers. You can't really see them with all the stuff that I've done to it, but you can go to lighting. You can change, add some contrast, take down some highlights, bring up some brightness. I mean, this looks completely different than how I started. And it looks completely different from the original that I clicked on, but I made it my own. And in the same way, you can do in Photoshop, you can do blending modes in Topaz as well. Down here, you have your blend modes, and you can just go through them, just like you go through the filters, see what is interesting. Right? And then let's just say we like that, which we don't, for the record, but let's say we do. You can edit the opacity of that filter that you just made, or we can actually do a layer mask right here in Topaz. I will apply this filter by clicking the apply button, and I will go to it. I'll just make that a little bigger so we can see what's going on. I'll go to my mask right here, and then this little window will pop up. I'm going to go to my brush, just like we did in Photoshop. I'm going to take my black brush, just like we did in Photoshop. Let's see, I'll make it like here for transparency. And the radius, I'll make the thing a little bigger. And then we can well, in theory. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Ah, live technology, I love it. What's going on? The brush, it's masking, but it's not showing up. I don't know why.
I was putting the mask on, it's just that you have to put the effect on it.
This is actually odd.
Created a mask.
I know, but it's not.
It's not acting on them.
Isn't that odd? Well, see, this is why I didn't want to do a live demo.
That's
But
okay, because I can distract everybody with a question. Two people have asked and said their Topaz is showing Studio 2. Do you use Studio 2? I don't have Topaz, so I don't know what that means.
I just use whatever the latest Topaz is.
So does anybody who asked that question want to come off mute? Let me see. Hold on. Let me find Phil.
I don't know why this isn't that interesting. I don't know why it wouldn't.
Yeah, I put that in.
Yes.
When my filter, the Topaz, just shows Studio 2. It doesn't show all of those other filters that your program showed.
What?
And I don't. I thought Studio. I do use C3, and I was under the impression that that Studio 2 was the replacement for Studio.
I do not know. This is the one I use. I upgrade it whenever there's an upgrade.
I did the same, so I'm in a quandary. But I
Do you
will
not
check.
have these you're saying on the side?
No, I have all of those on the
Oh.
side. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm talking about when you opened the filter and you went to studio, you showed a number of different filters in studio separately. I don't see that. I just have one, so Studio 2. When I open Studio 2, then I have the other, all the filters that you're showing.
Yeah,
Oh.
Anastasia, when you went from Photoshop,
Yeah,
in Photoshop, you had Topaz Labs and Topaz Studio.
and Topaz Studio 2, right?
Oh,
That's the difference. There's Topaz Studio and then there are other filters. And those are the.
you mean
Now,
these?
now, would you see where you have clarity and detail, glow impression? I don't have that. All it shows is Studio 2.
Okay, well, those are probably, I've had those for a long time.
Those are old legacy filters.
Old
Yeah.
legacy filters.
And they are made
Oh,
of-
okay. I don't have the legacies because
They may
Already-
or may not still even have them.
well, they're in Studio 2.
Yeah,
So I
but
think it's.
you
you're
mean they just don't
accessing
show
it
up
differently.
separately?
Yeah, Simplify doesn't there? I have Simplify separately.
Yeah, Simplify is fun.
Right. They discontinued it, so.
Yeah, so, but, and again, I don't know why that wasn't working. But you get the idea. I mean, it's the same thing as we did in Photoshop with the layer mask.
Anastasia, one more quick question. Do you
Yeah.
happen to know how much Topaz Studio cost?
Not anymore. I
I can try to Google it real quick.
probably like 79, 99. I don't know.
I don't know. We bought a whole bunch of these things
Yeah,
a very long time ago.
yeah, we bought the remask and we had a whole bunch of
Yeah, I
different
don't remember how much it is.
Topaz ones.
And I see it's up to Studio 3. It is $100 is what I'm finding on their website.
Yeah.
So it's $99.99. It's on sale.
And here, that we're in Simplify now. And again, here are all the different things you can go into. They've got portraits, they've got sunsets and skies, urban, vintage. And here's the impressions, pencil drawing, paintings. It's endless. In this particular one, you can change even what type of image it's going to give you, soft and simple. Here's your basic adjustments. You have to play. There's so many different variables. You have the blending modes, and this is how they blend with your original image. I love using these. You never know what you're going to get. Something that was so weird was just a line drawing can produce something like that. So I really think it's a great thing to do, to play with these images. Maybe not your wildlife images so much, but something that has nice color, something that has good form. Some graphic images are really fun to play with and to paint. It's really whatever makes you happy. And I mean, we could do this forever, but I just wanted to show you that layer masking technique, which is the same in Topaz as it is in Photoshop. You're basically taking away from the top layer and exposing the bottom layer. And that's all there is to it. So that's what we have. If anyone has questions or.
There is a question. Do you teach any classes on Zoom?
I do a lot of teaching on Zoom. Photoshop lessons or whatever people want to learn. I do one-on-one classes.
I'm going to post your website again here. Is that the best way to reach out to you, or?
Yeah, that's a great way to reach out to me, or my email is fine too.
Okay, the AOL.
Yeah, the AOL. I'm showing my age with the AOL.
I'd like to think it makes us dedicated users, but yes, people tell me the same thing.
Well, it's so, and I've had it for, how do you change after, 25 years of the same email? It's hard to switch. And AOL's easy. It's AOL, not, opt online, not, so it's an easy one to type in.
Do we have any
So
other
I hope,
questions?
yeah.
Now I'm trying to see if anybody has any questions. We can take you off mute to ask. Matt, do you see anything?
I do not have any questions here.
So I hope that those who haven't used it would try it. And I hope it wasn't too basic for those who already use it. But creativity is good and we should do more of it.
I've made it so you can unmute yourself if you do have a question.
No questions, Dr. Thornton?
I was not able to unmute myself until just now. So I don't have a question other than I am always astonished by the breadth of your creativity.
Oh,
And thought that it was really nice. I've seen your work over the years, and it's one image and one image and one image, but this was really a nice opportunity to see one image after the other. And it's not that they weren't good, because they aren't good, but how different they are. And that is really what impresses me, how you just seem to have something within you that just flows with that creativity. So,
well, that is super nice of you to say. And, it's the Mutual Admiration Society here. You're one extremely talented guy. And so I appreciate your comments a lot.
yeah. And you are running the older version of Topaz. And for my money,
I literally just updated this.
Well, because you're updating the legacy and what they really try to swindle, and I got swindled into the new Topaz Studio 2, and the look and the workflow is very different, and I don't like it.
Okay.
I like the old legacy format. It was easy to find things. You got to hunt and search, and
I don't like hunting and searching.
Version is forever crashing on my Mac, and nothing else crashes on my Mac. So, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Keep it.
You probably shouldn't be doing any open mind anymore anyway.
I know I shouldn't. I don't like it. I don't get it. But I'll keep trying.
Oh.
Thank you, Anastasia. It was a wonderful presentation.
Oh, thank you so much. I
Yes.
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I
Thank you,
certainly did.
Anastasia. We really appreciate you coming and spending your time with us, and your work is absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you so much.
I wish I thought like you, but I don't.
Oh no one, don't wish that on yourself. Definitely don't want that. But I'm always available if anyone wants, image critique or help with something, or if you have a question and you just want to know how to do something, I'm always available for that, as well as Photoshop lessons or anything else you may want. But I'm always here.
Terrific. Appreciate it.
And Anastasia, I don't know if you have your chat open, but there are definitely a lot of kudos going through the chat.
Oh,
I said, thank you. Excellent presentation.
That's so nice.
Very enjoyable. It was wonderful. Your images are fabulous. Wonderful work.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that. Thank you.
Good to see what Photoshop can do.
Yes,
Magic.
Photoshop is not a bad word.
Mhm.
It's not. Photoshop is your friend. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anastasia. It was great.
Oh, thanks, Lynn.
You've always been a good teacher.
Well, we go back years too.
Hey, I met you. Thank you.
All right. Well, it was totally my pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you all again.
Thank
Not
you
so
very
much you,
much.
Dennis, but.
Mhm.
Thank
Superb, very, really superb.
Doreen Rose. Hi, beautiful lady. You're muted. If I knew it was that easy, I would have done it years ago.
Great presentation. Awesome job.
So nice for you to come.
Yeah, good to see you.
I'm going to be judging the Bronx soon. Are you still there?
Yeah, I re-registered last year. Not too sure about this year, but it's on Zoom, so I'll probably